Joining me now on the telephone is Congressman David Price from North Carolina. He is on the Homeland Security Appropriations Subcommittee, which is responsible for FEMA's budget. Representative Price, thank you for your time today. You saw this funding crunch coming. What did you and your fellow panel members do about it?
Not enough, I'm afraid. I have said for weeks, as we've had disasters throughout the country, and now, of course, faced with this Irene disaster all up and down the eastern seaboard, that we simply must replenish the disaster relief fund over at Homeland Security. And what's more, we need to designate this, as the law provides, emergency spending. This is a genuine emergency, and the notion that we would hold this up until the Republicans can prompt another budget fight and figure out what they want to cut, what they want to offset in the budget, and to pit one section of the country against the other, and to delay this and create this uncertainty. It's just the latest chapter, and I think one of the most unsavory ones of our budget wars. We need to get this money in place so that our communities know they've got the support that they've counted on.
And when you say hold this up, I assume that you're speaking in part to Representative Cantor's comments that the money to pay for the disaster, Eric Cantor's comments on Fox on Monday, that the money to pay for the disaster aid will have to be offset with cuts elsewhere in the budget, that we're just going to need to make sure that there are savings elsewhere to continue to do so, were his exact words. So it sounds like there may be a potential fight here with the House Republicans.
Well, I think it's an untenable position, and one that simply is unresponsive and insensitive to the kind of situation we face in this country. You know, I'm not saying every past designation of emergency funding was justified. We need to make sure we're talking about genuine emergencies. But how can anybody doubt that this is a genuine emergency? This is a horrible storm. We have, in North Carolina, just been talking to our rescue groups out there. We're going to have enormous repair and rescue efforts to pay for, and that's true all the way up the east coast of this country. And as your reporter just said, there are obligations from past disasters in Missouri and elsewhere. And the notion that you would say, in effect, that we are going to not do this until we can have another budget fight. Figure out whose budget we're going to cut, or what kind of economic development funds, like high-speed rail was one they picked earlier. What kind of economic development funds we're going to cut, how many jobs we're going to cut in order to do disaster relief. That is not the way this Congress should be operating. An emergency is an emergency. We need to be straightforward and honest in labeling it as such, and get the money where it needs to go to get relief to our communities. I think I'm just very impatient, and I think the American people are going to be impatient with any attempt to hold these funds hostage to political objectives.